Oh, good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, July 21st. I want to say happy birthday to my brother John, even though he'll never hear this, but I still say happy birthday to him and tell him I love him and I'm glad he was born. And yeah, yeah. Today we are looking at lesson number 110. And this is, if you found this through YouTube or some other audio thing, welcome to an open door, courtesy of Reverend Cindy Krupp and all of us who are in support of the container that Cindy has created for all of us. So this is a really important lesson. And what I'd like to do is read this morning from the Course in Miracles, and then I'm going to read, or maybe I'll read both from that and from Training Wheels. And then what I'd like to do is just do a very short guided meditation using the Forgotten Song, um, which is also in A Course in Miracles. I forget which chapter it is, but I'd like to do that today. And I think for me, this lesson is really important because of the promise that it holds. And so I'm on page 1151 of the Purple Book, and I'll just read parts of this lesson, and then we'll take it away. So the lesson today is I am as God created me. I am as God created. I am as God. I am, I am, I am. We will repeat this lesson from time to time, for this one thought would be enough to save the world if you believed that it is true. If you remain as God created you, fear has no meaning, evil is not real, and misery and death do not exist. Today's idea is therefore all you need to let complete correction heal your mind and give you perfect vision, which will heal all the mistakes which any mind has made at any time or any place. I'm going to read that again. Today's idea is therefore all you need to let complete correction heal your mind and give you perfect vision, which will heal all the mistakes which any mind has made at any time or place. It is enough to heal the past and make the future free. It is enough to let the present be accepted as it is. It is enough to let time be the means for all the world to learn escape from time and every change which time appears to bring in passing by. So what I wrote in Training Wheels is surrender yourself to the fact that you did not create yourself. Nor do you know how you were created. You cannot, you meaning the small you cannot create even a leaf on a tree. You do not even create the movement of your hand to the teacup. You certainly cannot create a solar system or even a single star. What created you? Truly, this question is the only one that really matters. Until I have a sense of who I really am, nothing I do or think has any contextual foundation. It doesn't mean anything. This question, who am I? What created me? This is the basis of all my decisions, of all my desires, and all the choices that I make. It determines whether I plan for the long run. It determines how I treat my enemy. It informs me continuously about everything. What created me? What am I? This is the only question that matters. And yet rarely is it asked with any depth at all. And this is because the true answer would bring down the artificial powers of the world. The answer would end the banking system as we know it, that thrives on profits at the expense of life. It would end kingships and religious hierarchies. It would end the rule of the wealthy over the poor. It would expose the cynicism and the lies of politicians. War would no longer be seen as a legitimate activity, and it would abolish the current system of education. For-profit healthcare would end. Science would have to include vastly new information. It would expose all injustices, but it would require something too. It would ask us to be responsible for our creations. It is not a waste of time that I consider that I am as God created me. It is not a waste of time. What is justice? This question is a revolution. How do we punish? What is useful knowledge? What does illness mean? Why is there violence? Can I imagine never being alone with my thoughts? Does this idea make me feel comforted, or is it an intrusion that engenders guilt? Is it even possible to fully consider that you are still as God created you? Are you able to comprehend your inherited divinity? I understand if you think it's impossible. You need no thought but this one, to let redemption come, to light the world and free it from the past. I am as God created me. God's creation can suffer nothing, and I am as God created me. So let's just take a moment to just sit with this. I am as God created me. How many of you have seen the movie Disclosure? The movie Disclosure ends with one word. Do you remember, May? Listen. Listen. It's the last word in that movie. So I invite you now to sit and listen. I'm going to read the forgotten song. So just take your seat. I'm going to turn my camera off because I don't like looking at myself. I invite you to just be present. I'm just going to be quiet for a minute so that we can let whatever the day has already brought to us to just release itself, release its hold on our heart or our nervous system or whatever is still at play. Or take a few breaths. Sometimes all we need is to know that we're here, just to say, I am here. That's all it takes. And so this is the song of prayer, or the forgotten song, which is a song of prayer. And it's interesting to me because even though I couldn't stay for the whole meeting of the guides yesterday, I remember one of the things that they said was they talked about the song. And how all of God is a song, and God's being is a song that we have forgotten. And so we begin. Listen. Perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state, not quite forgotten, dim perhaps, and yet not altogether unfamiliar, like a song whose name is long forgotten, and the circumstances in which you heard completely unremembered. Not the whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody attached not to a person or a place or anything particular. But you remember just this little part. How lovely was the song, how wonderful the setting where you heard it, and how you loved those who were there and listened with you. The notes are nothing, yet you have kept them with you, not for themselves, but as a soft reminder of what would make you weep if you remembered how dear it was to you. You could remember, yet you're afraid, believing you would lose the world you learned since then. And yet you know nothing in the world you learned is half so dear as this. Listen and see if you remember an ancient song you knew so long ago and held more dear than any melody you have taught yourself to cherish since. Beyond the body, beyond the sun and stars, past everything you see, and yet somehow familiar, is an arc of golden light that stretches as you look into a great and shining circle. And all the circle fills with light before your eyes. The edges of the circle disappear, and what is in it is contained no longer, not at all. The light expands and covers everything, extending to infinity, forever shining and with no break or limit anywhere. Within it, everything is joined in perfect continuity. Nor is it possible to imagine that anything could be outside, for there is nowhere where this light is not. This is the vision of the Son of God, whom you know well. Here is the sight of the one that knows its creator. Here is the memory. You are a part of this, with all of it within and joined to all, as surely as all is joined in you. I am as God created me. Accept the vision that can show you this, and not the body. You know the ancient song and know it well. Nothing will ever be as dear to you as this ancient hymn of love. The child of God sings to the Creator still. I am as God created me. We will repeat today's idea from time to time, as often as we need, for this one thought is enough to save you and the world. If you believed that it is true, its truth would mean that you have made no changes in yourself. I am as God created me. And that's what I have this morning. That forgotten song reminds me in some ways of what folks that have near-death experiences see. That little light that then expands into everything. And they are the light. The song is, it's a tone, it's a quality, it's an emotion, it's a feeling, it's a sense. It's a knowing. And I guess what I come away with is the best I can imagine of myself. The times when I have liked myself the most often when I have been the least critical and the most accepting, are the times that are the most true. I remember once my mother said to me, God bless that woman. I think I was 35, and she looked at me. She said, Amy, I really like the person you've become. You know, and part of it was a little bit of a judgment there because I was a bit of a troublemaker and a rebel in my teens. But she said, you have such a sense of loyalty and a sense of honor. She just said the most beautiful things to me. And that's what God's love is like. And when we receive that, you know, William, Indigo, May, Sandra, Jerry, Alice, John, and Libby, and Richard, and Tony, and Cindy, I really like how you've become. You have such a beautiful soul. You have worked so hard to understand. You have given even when you thought you had nothing left to give, and still you gave again. You have weathered so many storms, and you stand willing to weather so many more. You are so courageous and so loving. You have chosen to come here to a place that is so difficult so that you could go back and share the journey with others who were too afraid to come. So I would just say thank you, all of you. I like who you've become. I am as God created me, and there's still only one of us here. Thank you. What does this lesson mean for you? How do you receive this lesson? How do you live it? Good morning, William.
We are as God created us. Thank you.
And you know what? There's not a damn thing we can do about it. Isn't that great? Thank you. Livy, good morning.
Good morning. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Wow, this is so timely. And William, I heard you last night. I've always had well, I've always had, just issues with being seen, and in particular, really difficult or big body image issues and all that. And it really came to me the other night that, this body is an expression of love. And it was, I don't have to be attached to the stories that this body has held for decades. And it just really opened my mind and opened my heart to that fact that I am as God created me, which means I am this body is the full expression of love and an instrument for that love to come through and express. And so that was a real big seeing for me and that I'm very grateful for. And I thought about William with recognizing that the thoughts aren't real and that there really is only the breath and only now, now, now. And you know how some things finally, I love the way Cindy does that, to where it really sinks in, and in here. And so I'm just really, really grateful for all the voices that I hear that, yes, William, all the voices that I hear that keep reminding me of the truth of what I am. And so I love this lesson and love your lead. Thank you so much.
Libby, I think I see a picture of you as a little girl uh, right behind you.
It's actually more when my niece drew that for me.
Oh,
And I'll show it closer sometime. It's a younger version. Thank you for noticing. I'll let her know.
it's a beautiful image, and there's such innocence in it.
Yeah.
And it's your backdrop of that little girl whose heart is a song. And that's how I see you.
Yeah,
So thank you, thank you, thank you.
yeah, absolutely. And Dago, good morning.
Hi, everyone. So great to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for this lesson. And for me, um, since my brain injury, which was actually the best thing ever, I still here, or God still guides me, and um, I get cute. I am continually reminded, that everything, every single thing is God, and everything is love, and there's nothing else. Nothing else. That's all there is. So no matter what I'm experiencing, believing, it doesn't matter. That's why I love being silent, because when I'm silent, I always remember and I always feel this love that takes my breath away. And I have no word. I can't even talk. Um, so yeah, I just love being here with all of you and just hearing what everyone has to share and hearing what you said. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dago. Good morning, John.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Amy, and thank you for that wonderful presentation there. I just so love the Song of Prayer, and the way you read it was beautiful. And I love the part when you go in a circle that comes into everything, and it's such wonderful imagery there. See, and what it's in juxtaposition to some of the stories that I tell myself, some of them. And I'd like to give you an example of this because I hold this throughout my experience at the moment, and that's just a reminder, that of the times when I'm not remembering that I am as God created me, when I forget that, and one of the times I forget that is, and you reminded me of it, was when you opened up, it says, "Oh, I'm going to turn my camera off because I don't like looking at me." And I thought to myself, "Oh, I'm as God created me, but I don't like looking at me." And I thought to myself, I got that number going for me too. So it's to hold in juxtaposition the part of me that's totally willing to accept just as the guide says yesterday, it was so powerful that I am known. I'm with God, I am of God, and I am known by God, and God wants to know me. God wants to know me. Can I allow God to know me? Oh, that's such a beautiful concept when we think of that ever expanding light, and God wants to know me. Wow, it's mind blowing. Like the whole lesson is mind blowing today. I am as God created me. Can I remember that love that I have experienced, just as you have? I love what your mother said to you.
Mm.
I love what your mother said to you. Oh my God, that all our mothers said that to us. My grandmother said that to me in so many words, and that's one of the highlights of my life. But just to be in that environment and to have that experience, what your mother said to you, and have a reference to that as the expanding light that shines forever and ever and in all places, in juxtaposition to my little stories, to my that I hang on to with such greed. Excuse me. I love to be here with you, you wonderful people. You're so supportive of me in my journey, and I hope I can add value to your life, because I love you too, just as my grandmother loved me, and just as Amy's mother loved her and told her so. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, but I had to get that off my chest. And here, listen. I had to listen to my saying that myself. John, you're worth looking at because God created you. Even with all your warts and all, God created you. And I love you, John.
John, it's so funny. The very idea, do I want God to know me? That is such an insane, insane thought. It's just insane. It says so many things. It says so many things. That's a way far in the orbit out from the truth. Way far out. That is like really not knowing what we are. And you know what? If someone hasn't said that to you, I really love who you are. I really like who you are. Then that doesn't mean that we can't say it to someone else, because when we give that to them, it comes to us. And it doesn't matter whether you really love the entire person. You could just find one thing about them and focus on that.
Yeah, and you know what, Amy? With that is my experience yesterday, because I was in a store, like a health food store, and I went to look for a homeopath remedy that I heard about, and the lady helped me there. She had some experience, and but she wasn't a homeopath, but she had plenty of experience in that, and she helped me through there. And at the end of the deal, um, I just said to her, I got to tell you something. I love you. And it just came out. That was after my experience with the guys. It was so easy for me to say that I love you. And I got to tell her, and there was two other sales assistants within earshot. They both thought it was hilarious, but I didn't. I just had to tell her that I really meant that I love you. Who knows where that's land, but I know what it meant to me, and it was so easy for me to say it. It was just flowed out of me. It wasn't a plan or anything like that. It just flowed out of me because she was so helpful. And to have that experience, me saying that to her, added exactly what you said. It adds value to me. So thank you.
Thank you, John. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Amy. I'm really looking forward to whatever it is I'm about to say because I don't have a clue. I do. I have a little bit of a clue. I am as God created me. I'm being very careful lately to be quiet enough to know when those thoughts of separation just sort of color the current experience. I've gotten really interested in deepening my understanding of how the physical form fits in that, like the body, and without knowing the answer. That's just it. And I watch myself want to immediately respond, or others, when I bring this up, immediately want to tell me what it means to them or conceptually, and I'm not. I understand that I don't know. Like all sense of separation is a distortion of the truth. The physical form in so many ways feels separate from other physical forms, and what is the gift in that, I guess, is part of the way. I was recently holding space for a dear friend who has brain cancer, and I'm sitting in presence with her, and I'm in this space of um, this question, and not wanting the I separate mind to have an answer. And she knows just enough Course in Miracles and has been hanging around with just enough Course in Miracles that there was a whole bunch of anger rising in her that eventually just said, I'm not a body. What the fuck? I am a body. That's what I am. The symptoms, the pain, the symptoms, the things that were going on, color the screen of her awareness. And I'm not going to say otherwise, like that is foolish. Should I be with this person dealing with these symptoms and telling her she's not those symptoms? That it becomes such an interesting dichotomy. And this morning, or when I was with her most recently, I for some reason I got real interested in my hands resting on my thighs, like I was wearing shorts, so it was my hands resting on my thighs, and getting real curious about what separated the hands from the thighs. Just that, right? It's my body. The hand is part of my body. The thigh is part of my body. And somehow when I place the hand on the thigh, there appears to be, according to the mind, a barrier. And it got real interesting because as my friend and I were sitting in this space, um, a whole bunch of her pain in that moment anyway just sort of dissolved. Um, and we shifted the question from, am I a body or am I not a body, to the recognition that I am not a body separate, or even more than that, can I find where I am a body separate? Where's the edge? So that takes us right back to the contemplation. So how could I not be other than what created me, an extension of source or the divine, right? And at least for right now, I am quiet enough to notice when the storyteller starts telling me what that means. And lately I've just been smiling because it doesn't know. The storyteller doesn't know. But somehow the divine keeps reminding me over and over and over again that I'm not alone, that I'm loved and I'm loving and I am the love that it is. And miracles are popping up like wildflowers, and what am I going to pay attention to? So it doesn't matter if I think I'm separate from God, because I'm not. And when I recognize that it doesn't matter what I'm thinking, the thinking becomes less important, and the experience of being an extension of God takes center stage. And no matter what the body's going through, it's stunning and miraculous and beautiful. And somehow when I rest as that, sort of like with my friends when we were having this level of conversation, the body symptoms just sort of eased in the moment, which, like, what could be more precious than that? So it's where I am right now. I don't know where I'll be 5 minutes from now, but I am going to invest as much of my attention today on remembering the truth. I am an extension of the divine, and there is no separate parts in the divine. So if I am as God created me, and there's no separation in what created me, where exactly are these separate parts that have a problem to solve today? So that's where I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it was the Thursday program for Thursday. Actually, I'll hold off on that and open it to Jerry. Good morning, Jerry. I'm glad you raised your hand.
Morning, everybody. I'm not glad I raised my hand, but I feel like that's why I'm here. So to listen, to learn, to grow. I really like this. Um, I am as God created me. And I liked I like the image of that long forgotten theme or song. Yeah, so I am as God had created me. I problem with that, what I struggle with is how God created other people. Today I'm going to visit my son in jail, and the first visit's always real bad because he looks so horrible after months on the street, and so I sit there and I look at his sunken eyes and cheeks and his blank, faraway stare, and so I will picture the words above his head as I sit there, that I am over his head, I am as God created me. And really believing that, and of course, then changing, I don't know what anything means, what anything is for. So get into that mind frame of, of, I guess, seeing a whole lot more than what I see, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I love the ancient, which I've always held in my heart. I can remember back many, many years ago, and this is not ancient, but it's 50 years ago. Um, my wife at the time, we had just come off a couple of stillbirths, early 20s, and we were watching this young child, and we were going camping up in the Adirondacks, and we sang, "He's got the whole world in his hands." And it reminds me of the Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah saying that, he's got us in his hands, millennium, years and years before we're ever here, you know. So that's my ancient song that I totally believe, that I hold on to. That we're all in his hands, and beyond that, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. I choose to believe that God creates us exactly as it's meant to be. But I guess I just have a whole lot to learn. So I'm here just to share whatever the hell I share, but even more so just to learn and listen. So I'm here to learn and listen. Thank you.
Thank you. I can't imagine what it would be like to have to walk into a correctional facility and to feel like I'm walking in alone. So I would clothe myself with the angels. I'll be thinking about you, Jerry.
By the way, we're in a correctional facility right here in this meeting, in case you didn't know.
Thank you, John. That was great. Yeah. Oh. I want to know how Sandra's doing. I want to know how May's doing, Richard and Alice. And how's everybody doing? Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning. Love to everyone. So, as you were, thank you, Amy, to start with. Thank you. Thank you deeply. Hope you feel it. Hope you feel the gratitude. Um, this is every lesson is so beautiful. And this one, something jumped out at me and started my mind going. And it was the start of paragraph 5. It says, the healing power of today's idea is limitless. I am as God created me. That statement is limitless. It is the birthplace of all miracles, the great restorer of the truth to the awareness of the world, to my awareness, to our awareness. And so then I thought about miracles. I mean, that's what brought me to open this book, is A Course in Miracles. You know, not just everyday adaptation, not like getting a little better, but A Course in Miracles. And, recently some of us have been studying the New Testament and Jesus and his miracles. And I believe that he did perform miracles because of his belief in himself and in humanity. And then I was thinking, well, where are all the miracles? And yeah.
Where'd they go?
Then I remembered Edgar Casey. Remember him? And there were miracles. And then, my mind is so interesting because yesterday I was in a hotel room down in Baltimore and up in Baltimore, and I decided to open the course randomly, like we do sometimes, and open to I am entitled to miracles. That's one of the lessons. I am entitled to miracles. So then all of a sudden I remembered all these scientific studies about the placebo effect. And in the placebo effect, some people are given sugar pills or whatever, and they heal. I saw something just yesterday about people who are actually given some fake knee operations. Even had the scar there, but nothing was done inside. And the people who got the fake operation did just as well as the ones who got the real operation on their knee. This was in a journal of medicine. This wasn't like a fluky thing, this was in the journal. So anyway, back to healing power. And, I really believe it. I really believe it. All we need, it says, all you need to let complete correction heal your mind and give you perfect vision. It's all you need is I am as God created me, and it will heal all mistakes which any mind has made. So I rest in that. I have had healings. I have had some overnight healings in the course of studying this book. But I'm not going to talk about them because right now I'm not having that. And I feel, okay, honesty is called for. Honesty is always called for. There are times when I despair about that. I feel the feeling of despair. I feel like, oh, why do I have to have this happen? And then other times, I feel joy. It's like a roller coaster. So I don't know why I'm talking. I believe in miracles. I believe the truth of what I am. It doesn't matter to me that I am a body or I'm not a body. I'm all of it. It's not one or the other. It's all of it. And as I am resting in the truth and in this body, I'm sitting here talking to you. I have so many things. I have every single cell in this body, and there's millions or billions, I don't even know, is full of divine energy. And inside those cells are these little things called quarks. And inside those quarks are little things called strings that are being plucked and humming a tune. We are a song because our very smallest particles science can find are strings. And the strings are vibrating. And that's what a song is, right?
That is such a great way to look at what we are. And not only that, but as the Forgotten Song said, there's no barrier. We think of the body as a discrete thing, but there are songs being sung that we are swimming in. We are
So
swimming
what
in
does
the
it
song.
boil down to? In this lesson, it boils down to, what do I believe to be true?
That's right.
And so that's where I'm hanging my hat. That's where I am right now. I believe I am perfect. And all the cells in this, if you want to call it an apparent body, you can call it an apparent body. You can call it a real body. It doesn't matter. All the cells are generating a beautiful song of healing. And I get to experience that. I do. All I have to do is put my attention that way and really sink in to the belief of what's true. And I am healed. I am healed. I don't have to have, I don't have to project a particular outcome in order to be healed. That's what I'm understanding now. I am healed right here, right now. And it doesn't matter what I see, I think I see or feel. So I am as God created me. Wow. Don't let that just float over, rush off. You just get the wow of it, the awesomeness of it, the amazement. Just like those people who are standing around Jesus, God, look what he's doing. So I am as God created him. Remember that. Keep it firmly in your mind and try to discover in your mind the self who is the Holy Son of God himself. And I'm just going to keep on reading this Course in Miracles because I know it's true. And when I have times when I feel despair, I'm going to go, okay, I'm feeling despair right now. That's part of this experience. And I know joy's right around the corner. That's all I have, my friends. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too, Sandra. Thank you very much. All right. I have more I could say about this lesson, but I will hold off. Let's see if Livy wants to close us out.
Just real quick to piggyback off of what Sandra was talking about, I wrote the other night, I'm a song being sung. And, what really brought that was, every song I've written, and like Tom Petty said, I didn't write these songs, they just came through me. And so that just came up. I'm a song being sung. So I just wanted.
Thank you. I love it when Cindy tells us that she's been playing with these certain ideas, and she'll describe the idea or the whatever it is that she's working on. And lately for me, it's been that I'm not this body. And it's not so much it's what I don't see. What I am is all of this, but the blinders limit my perception to just a part of it. So it's not so much an effort of seeing more as it is an effort of having fewer blinders, right? So I have as consciousness the experience of being the body, but the body is not what I am. I'm so much more than that. I cannot limit myself by defining myself as a body, which is why sickness is an illusion, because the body's not reality. And yet we think it is. So this lesson, I am as God created me. I think I just froze. Did I just freeze? No? Okay. I am as God created me. There's no separation whatsoever. This lesson sort of moves us to think that God is this thing that created this separate thing. But I just would encourage, as we work with this lesson, there is zero separation. None at all. And the thought that I'm sick or that I'm a body is just a thought. And thoughts have zero power except for what we give them. The thoughts themselves are a veil. They are a veil, which is why we love the silence. All right, Richard and then William. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, everyone. Beautiful shares. I like the idea that, as Sandra was saying, well, how blessed we are to experience both the eternal and the temporary. And we define the temporary as illusion, but we can experience that at the same time as we experience the eternal. And the eternal is what God created us to be. And the temporary is what we made as a gift to God. So as the Course says, it's a classroom. We're here to learn. We're not here to be loved or be loved or whatever. We're here to learn. And that's why we came here. So, well, I just think we're so blessed to have had the opportunity to experience both. Love us all. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, Richard. William's going to close us out.
I'm aware that I have a lot of thoughts with Jerry in his presence for himself and his son. And I think of when I don't see who I am, my headless way, I am as God created me, that space now. And everything else with thoughts is just something I've been creating. We are as God created in this moment, and I forget it and get caught up in thoughts. So it's a reminder that I'm not what I see in the mirror or what I see in others. So thank you, just being here.
Thank you, William. You're speaking my heart. Jerry.
The ancient thoughts, or, we all have one of those special things that are just rock solid that cling to. And mine is a story that teaches me that beyond God with us, that we are each God. And I might have mentioned this before, but it's such a lesson, a solid core lesson. And that was a story, the last page on Elie Wiesel's Night, when he talks about the Holocaust and the concentration camps and a bunch of men standing around watching this young 4 or 5-year-old boy being hung. But he was so thin that it didn't break his neck, that he was just gasping for air. And the men around watching it, one looked at the other and said, "How could God ever allow this?" And the other person said to him, "Maybe that is God, or that is God hanging there, So the point is, well, the lesson for me anyway, is that we're all God. My son's God. And that's what I choose to believe. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jerry. One of the things that this lesson says is to accept it with gratitude. And I want us to leave with that, because the world will tell us that we're not God. The world will tell us we're going to get off this call and go out into a world where almost no one has really asked themselves, what am I? Where did I come from? Or maybe they ask it, but they think it's an unanswerable question, so it's not worth asking. So I would say, I'm so grateful to have this lesson. I'm so grateful to have you to talk about it with, and I'm really grateful to know what I am in truth. And so as we end this Zoom call, let's end it with gratitude for knowing what we really are, right? We cannot be destroyed. We were not created. We are. We will always be. We are the infinite absolute light. And that is our true nature. So we're going to meet again in less than an hour. Is that right?
Yep.
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 All
And
right.
you're in the mood to hear Cindy talk, come hang out with me.
All right.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.